Welcome to the Shit Show with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Bosco. On today's show, we're going to talk about who should or who has the right personality to own a pet waste removal company. We'll also speak about maybe this is the escape from the 9-to-5 prison that you're in every day. And for a very low amount of money, you could start your own business. And I'll talk about why you shouldn't open your mouth when you're changing a pet station bag, because it's gross. Whoa.
Welcome to the Shit Show with Joe Bosco, a podcast about pet waste removal franchises served with a side of humor. Hosted by Joe Bosco, the passionate owner of Yard Sweepers, this series delves deep into the nitty-gritty of the pet waste removal industry and beyond. Whether you're knee-deep in the business or eyeing a franchise opportunity, we've got you in the little black bag. And here's your host, Joe Bosco.
All right, guys, here we are. This is the first one. My buddy Brian's here, Joe's here, my son Doug.
Hello, everybody.
And we're gonna shoot the shit. So
welcome to the Shit Show.
Yes, sir. So a little nervous. I've watched a young lady do a podcast, and I just got the idea, saying a lot of people, are thinking about owning a business, and I think for a very low cost, you could own your own business. And I've done it. I've seen people do it. So it's doable. Just if you follow a couple of short things, you could be successful.
Well, Joe, I think that for the launch of your brand new podcast, we should probably start in the most appropriate spot, which is the very beginning. So I guess my first question for you is, as the owner and founder of Yard Sweepers, which has been in business for how long?
About 18 years.
18 years.
Yeah.
What in the world got you interested in the poop business, aka the feces field, aka the manure market? I got more.
Landmines.
The doo-doo department.
There are many departments.
Seriously, though, what gave you this idea to start Yard Sweepers?
Well, I've always, since I was a kid, since I could drive, I always said, I want to make my own money. And I always did. My parents were very, if you want it, you got to earn it, which I did at a young age. And then, working, doing what we do. I worked on Wall Street for 7 years, and 9/11 happened literally around the block from us. So it was, it was crazy. And my brother had moved down to North Carolina in 98. No, in 2000. And then he said he loved it. And we were like, couldn't take the babies away from my parents or from my wife's parents. They would be very upset to move 600 miles away. But after 9/11, we started questioning everything about being up north. And I said to my wife, I said, what do you think? I talked to my brother, and funny story is my brother had a house on the market for a year and 9 months, could not sell it. We came down, we looked at the house, we sat in the living room, an empty house, and I said, look at this place. What do you think? And she said yes. And we flew home and, told the parents and went on a road trip. And we got down here in 2003. I worked as an engineer for 2 years. My brother saw a saw? Soar.
It's saw.
He saw.
It's saw.
He saw.
Yeah, it ends with a W, not an R.
I feel R-ish, though.
Yeah, I understand. It's because you are from New York.
Right. Ooh, coffee talk.
From Long Island, as you like to say.
My brother saw this thing in a paper from some guy from Minnesota. He had 7 trucks and was making 7 figures. And he's like picking up shit.
He made a truck?
A figure?
7 trucks
figures.
And 7
trucks.
figures.
Yes. I don't know if that's each truck.
For each truck.
Right.
How much
7 figures.
How much is a figure?
Well, I think if you're 6 figures, you're in the 100,000s. But if you're 7 figures, you're in the millions. Stay with me, Ryan.
Did you just call me Ryan?
Ryan.
Did you hear Ryan?
No, it was a Brian. It was a Brian. Anyway.
All right, back to the 7
Are you going to let me finish
truck.
this?
Yes.
You're just going to keep derailing the whole conversation. I see how this is going to go.
I apologize, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Okay. So he sees this guy in the paper, 7 trucks making $7 million a year on the whole thing, all the trucks together. $1 makes at least $1 million. That's 7 figures. So I said, there's no way. And I said, I'm not picking up crap. Are you crazy? And 6 months later, here I am picking up crap. So I started it with my wife helping me, and we thought it was all residential. We really did. We thought that was where the money was because that's what this guy was doing. Quickly, I had to go use the restroom, and I went into an apartment community. Had my shirt, my hat on, and the lady said, "Where have you been? We had a guy doing it about 6 months ago, and he fell off the face of the earth. We haven't seen him." And I'm like, "Oh, here's my car." And she says, "Hey, by the way, there's a trade show in a week. If you can get a booth, you should really go. It's all these apartment communities." I'm like, what do I do? How do I pick up poop at an apartment community? No idea. Anyway, 2 weeks later, me and my brother were in a booth, and there's 500 people, and we had a line out the door, and we started the business. That was really when we started the business.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that was 06. Yeah, 06. So and it's been great, and I had part-timed it because I started working for my church, and I was there for 15 years. And when I left the church, I did it full-time. And in that 3 years, I grew the business. Well, we grew the business over 35% in 3 years. And, that's pretty good. Like I said, it's amazing. Like I never thought I could put my kids through college, but picking up dog shit, here we go. And it's real. And it's a surprise that more people aren't seeing what I saw a long time ago. Saw.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to franchise last year. We're ready to sell a franchise. We'd love to sell a franchise. And the beauty of selling, if you buy a franchise from me, you get my son, you get all of us because we're a team. And what I've learned in the past 3 years, it's a game changer.
What I find interesting about that story is all it took was one woman at an apartment complex with you going to the bathroom, which is ironic, right?
Yeah.
You had to use the restroom.
That's ironic. I mean, yeah, and it's been a great run, and that's why I saw this and the young lady in Michigan doing a podcast, and she's unbelievable. I'm going to get her name in a second, but she's in Michigan. She's mostly residential, I think, but her podcast is brilliant, and she's free. She shares, and she's great. So, yeah, that's a great podcast too.
All right, Joe. So I bet a lot of people are wondering what a day-to-day in the life of a pet waste removal company looks like. And you've done it for 18 years. My guess is you got a couple stories. Yeah, there are some stories. There's a couple. One of my favorites is I get a call, you pick it up, and Joe, this is Yard Sweepers, Joe. Hey, so I have you're going to find this question strange, but I know on your website I see you pick up dog poop. But do you pick up human poop? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. So he said, do you pick up human poop? That's brilliant. So, and I said, excuse me? I know it's odd, but I have a tenant downstairs that is pooping in the backyard, and I'm not picking it up. And I said, well, I'm not going to come pick it up either. I don't know what he's eating. I don't know what's in there. It could be mites. I don't want mites. So I said,
wait, I'm sorry.
You didn't know that?
You just heard that there was I'll use your word, a human that is pooping in the backyard.
Is that a bad word?
Your first question is, there might be mites in the poop. Not, why is there a human
no.
leaving an apartment to go poop in a yard instead of the toilet?
Well, that would have been my first question. Yeah.
We got there eventually, but when I said I'm not picking it up, I thought that was pretty much the end of the conversation, only for her to say, well, who do I call? So
Ghostbusters.
Well, there were a lot of things that went through my head. I said, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't call 911, but I might call the sanitation. Like, what do you do? I said, did you have a conversation with him? She goes, yeah, he comes out at night and he comes, you would think.
So he's a werewolf. Got it. We figured it out.
He comes out at night.
You would think he would go to the corner or something, like he was in the middle
goes
of the
right
yard,
to the
like
middle of
where
the
everybody
yard.
could see him, and shits, like drops trowel right there. So I said, well, your problems are way bigger than just the poop, with the guy living in your basement anyway. So yeah, that was a strange one.
When it's a dog, don't you guys charge by weight? I'm surprised you didn't ask her, like, well, how much does the human weigh?
Is it an 80-pound dog?
How many figures? How many figures is that one?
Oh yeah, crazy.
All right, let's hear another story.
I had been walking a property. It was a hot summer day, and I had never seen or heard of a red ant in my life. Didn't know what they were. Up north, there's just ants. If you leave something out, the ants come and eat it. But there's no such thing as a red ant that I ever saw. Anyway, so I guess they're up there, but I didn't live in a neighborhood with red ants. So
wow,
we were upper scale. So I'm walking, and I kind of noticed my foot is hot because I wear flip flops. I don't know if you knew that. I'm a big flip flop guy.
You look like a big flip-flop guy.
I'm a beach guy. So I'm walking, and like I said, I feel it heating up, and I look down, and my leg, I have hair on my leg, but there was other stuff moving, and there were red welts everywhere. So I'm like, and then I start to feel the pain. So what do you do? Where are you going to go? And there was a pool, the swimming pool there with all the little kids jumping around. I was full clothes, just right in the pool. And it made it go away, but I remember going to the doctor, and he said, I've never seen that many bites in one location. He said, did you have pants on? And I said, well, yeah. And he said, what did you have on your feet? He said, flip-flops. He said, don't you pick up dog shit? Why would you wear flip-flops to pick up dog shit? My doctors, I'm like, yeah, thanks, Captain Hindsight. Anyway, but yeah, it wasn't good. Red ants are bad.
I have a similar story. So you grew up in New York. I grew up in Florida. And in Florida, the fire ants are everywhere. And we learn about them at a very, very young age. They have mounds that are sometimes 4 feet high. They're insane. And for some reason, as a kid, we would love to just stick our foot in it real fast and watch them all kind of swarm and then laugh and run away. Well, I found one mound at a park that was like, oh, this one is amazing. And so I remember and this is a true story, I was probably 7 or 8 years old. I stuck my foot in it right at the moment that I heard my mom say, Brian. And I turned and looked at her. She goes, careful with the ants. You don't want to get bitten by them. And I remember thinking, Mom, I've done this 100 times, obviously. And I forgot that my foot was still in the anthill. And I too, I mean, they were like past the knees.
Yeah,
it was extremely
and amazing how fast they are too.
Yes, and angry.
Yeah. Oh,
why are they so angry?
Angry. I have a good one. I was 8, hornet's nest, bamboo pole. It's hollow. Stick it in there. Didn't know. These things came through. I got bit in my mouth. I got bit everywhere. Went to the doctor. My mother goes, I was literally had 100 bites on me. She couldn't care less. She's like, you go. Doctor was around the corner. She pulls me in there. I get in there. Doctor's like, what did you do? She's like, he stuck a bamboo pole in the hornet's nest. That's what I live with. I'm like, I'm 8. I'm like, just make me be able to breathe. My tongue was swollen. It was terrible, bro.
What was the goal, though, to sticking a bamboo? Like, were you trying to, like,
I wanted
bamboo
a reaction.
shoot them out?
I wanted a reaction, and no, I got one. Ooh, these things came through the bamboo hole. But why did I have it? What was I thinking? Like, stick it like a normal kid. No, I'm like, and this thing, yeah, that didn't look right. Okay.
I have so many questions, but I think we should move on.
So when is the big day?
August 1st, 30 days away.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
So today we're going to be looking at an apartment that includes all the amenities that you guys asked for. Do you have a washer and dryer?
No, we do not.
That's okay. We have facilities and you can also rent from us. Oh, this is one of our residents, Howard.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm just out here taking Regis and Kathy Lee here for a walk.
Yeah, and I'm just showing them an apartment today.
Oh, great. That means the 3 of us need to probably find a new spot. All right, see you later.
Oh, this also reminds me, we are extremely pet friendly. Do either of you have pets?
No, we don't.
That may change as soon as you move into this community. Oh, what happened? I was just leaving you a little present. See, I have this for you. This little bag. Scoop it up and put it right in there.
Is this normal? What the crap?
You have got to be kidding me. Let's get out of here.
But we're pet friendly. Lost another one.
You know, it didn't have to be this way. Don't lose leases because of the feces. Yard
If
sweep.
there's someone that's
Number
watching
one
that's
in the
saying,
number
I
two
think this
business."
might be for me, looking for a franchise, maybe interested in getting in the pet waste removal business, what are some tips you can give them? What's the kind of personality that is successful in this business?
I wouldn't say an extrovert or an introvert. I think it's a mix of both. For me, I'm an extrovert, so I find it easy talking about anything. So I could walk into a property and, like, we just met somebody today, and if you just get me going, I could talk. So I think somebody that once you learn the business and know the business and you know what you're doing and you know what the customer wants, customer service is above anything else. When that customer sends me an email, I know I watch my email from 9 to 5 every day consistently. If I get an email, it's in my pocket if I'm out or on my computer, and we answer immediately. I mean, they're like, did the email go through? Like, that's how fast. And over the 18 years, people just, word of mouth, just built this business to a point where, you know, it's good, you know. And what I've learned in the past 3 years since leaving the church was customer service. And, you know, I did it at the church, and I've always done it, and I've always been a people person. And I'm trying to show Doug, my son Doug, how to do that. Because if you can't sell, you can't have a business. So if you're an introvert and listen, I'll just be in the field picking up poop. Well, that's great, but you can't have a business because you got to be able to sell. So the only way you're going to pick up more poop is by making more sales. So it's a mix, but customer service is huge in my business. I think that the right person, you know, for years, I paid as little as I could because, you know, I'm a growing business. I'm a part-time business. So people need to work, and I put them to work, and I paid them a fair wage. Quickly learned over the past 3 years that doesn't cut it. You have to pay somebody. They got to pay their bills. So if somebody's coming to you to work, it has to be, they have to go. Like, if I told you what I paid my people, you would say, are you kidding me? That's what you would say.
7 figures. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right, Doug?
One for each truck.
He's nodding.
6 of them were after the decimal point, but yeah, 7 figures.
We don't worry about the decimal
Yeah.
point. Just put that wherever.
And I was talking to somebody about it, about telling them about what I pay my employees now for a full day's pay. They're like, that is unbelievable that you can make that much money picking up dog shit and you don't own the place. But yeah, I've learned that you have to do a really good interview process. You have to do a background check. You have to do the things that you would do for any company to get the right person in. And it may not be the perfect person because you're picking up shit. I mean, that's no joke. You know, that's when it's 101 degrees out, the last thing you want to do is be pulling a bag out of a pet station. It rips and splashes you inside your mouth. It's not pleasant. It's really not pleasant. Doug, has that ever happened to you? Yep. Yeah.
That's
Happened
a
to
true
me.
story, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's an acquired taste, if you will.
I guess my only follow-up is, why is your mouth open while you're picking up dog poop?
Because you're pulling the bag out and you're probably on your 100th bag and it's 101 degrees out and you're pulling the bag out and you're just frustrated at one point, or it doesn't matter, and you just rip that bag one time and yeah, you get in the car and it stays with you for a while.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Keep your mouth closed,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it.
What do you think is the minimum skeleton crew? Like, if you're thinking about getting started, how many people do you need to start a pet waste removal company?
Just yourself. You just need you, because you can do everything when you're starting, because you have no customers, right? So, I was by myself. I did it for 7 years by myself. I worked at the church, and then I went to work at night. I didn't get home till dark for 7-8 years, because you got to be committed. I mean, it's like anything else. Nobody's going to give you anything. Not for me, that I've learned. You got to earn it. And when I realized it was my own, and I was putting my own money into it, it was very easy for me to say, I'm not the most frugal, but when it comes to my business, I watch everything, because you have to. It can go away in a second. And, we built it to a point now where we could lose some customers, and it's mostly, it's a mixture of commercial and residential, but we don't feel the burn as much when you lose a couple. Customers been with me for 15 years and they leave. Well, why? What happened? And it always comes back to the worker or to that relationship, because the worker, the tech relationship and the apartment officer relationship is huge. And I'll tell you why. Because when you are a regular and they know you and they like you and they want you to be there, because when they get a call for dog crap, they have 10 other things, air conditioning units, everything else going on, painting and everything. They're like, oh, just call Joe, get him over here to fix it. That relationship should be to a point within 6 months of you being the tech that they call you, or they call me before they call the office. So when it's not, we put stickers on our pet stations, and a pet station is what you see in the shit show. That's a pet station. I know most people know what they are. Mm-hmm. We put stickers on them on the cover that just say, hey, if there's any issues with this pet station, call this number. This way they call me and they don't call the office, so we get less complaints. And it works. So, yeah, that relationship is huge.
Yeah. So it's all about human interaction and trust. Yeah.
Human.
It's great. All right. I got an idea.
Okay.
I think we should do something fun. I got a little game lined up.
Watch out.
Mr. Bosco. So
Jeopardy?
This is, no, neither one of us are smart enough for Jeopardy. But we are going to play a little game called Two Truths and a Lie. You ever played this game before?
I don't think so.
I'll explain the rules. It's fairly simple. I'm going to state 3 things. 2 of those things are true facts.
What's the genre?
The genre, since this is the shit show, Yard Sweepers with Joe Bosco, are 3 facts about dog poop. And we'll just see if you can find which one of the 3 is
I get this wrong.
Not true.
You should be good at this, because you should have a high DS meter, which is like BS, but it's dog shit. Yeah.
That's good.
Well played.
I would like to state he does not know what these 3 facts are. I purposely kept this organic, if you will, so we can get an actual honest answer from him.
7 million.
All right, so I'm going to state all 3, and then you guess which one is the lie. Number 1, dog waste is fertilizer for your lawn. 2, dogs defecate about 30,000 tons of waste every single day. Number 3, dogs may prefer to poop in a north-south direction. 2 of those are true. 1 of those is a lie. Which one?
The fertilizer is the lie.
What do you guys think? That is correct.
Thank you.
I honestly didn't think that would stump you, but yes, in its raw form, it can actually be toxic to your soil. Dog waste needs to first be safely composted in an enclosed system before being considered a beneficial aid to the environment. As far as the defecating 30,000 tons, that is 10 million tons every single year.
Call the yard sweepers.
I just hear money sounds right there.
Another great story. Remind me.
And then with dogs may prefer to poop in a north-south direction, one study shows that some dogs defecate in line with the Earth's magnetic fields, though nobody is sure why. Regardless of the reason, they always seem to take their time doing their business when you're in a hurry.
I call bullshit on that.
I would have thought it was just with the religious affiliation of the dog, towards Mecca.
That would be east-west.
That's funny. So you said, and my the last house we had, I just started the business. It was one of those days, and I had a neighbor that just would walk his dog down the street. And, I had, at the end of the day, the dump was already closed. It was getting dark. I had my buckets full of poop, with covers on them, with bags, but it smelled. And I get it. It smelled. But this day, he just caught me on the wrong day. So he's coming down the street, and I just see him with his face like, oh, that smell. And I'm walking up the driveway, and I'm like, I just stopped. And I shouldn't have. I should have just kept walking. That would have been the right decision. But I didn't. I stopped, and I'm like, I do smell that. It smells like money. And he just shook his head and kept walking. So it was a little victory for me. But, it did stink.
It's the little things in life that matter most.
It is. I agree.
Did you end up hiring him?
No. He moved quite soon after that. I forced him out.
Oh.
Well, I don't think I did, but he probably does. I mentioned earlier about the young lady in Michigan. Her podcast is called The Scoop. Her name is Erica Krupin. Again, very informative. So if you're thinking about this, if this is something, if you're like, you don't need 50 grand to start a business. You need yourself. You need to believe in yourself that you could do this for a little amount of money. Use your own car. Use cheap tools. Use what you have to do to succeed. And quickly you'll realize that a side hustle can become your main hustle.
Thanks for listening. This episode is complete. If you want to be number one in